everyone. My name is Waseem Haider, and I'm a professor of mechanical and materials engineering here at Central Michigan University. So today I have a student with me. Her name is Salma Abdul Gawad. And so let's talk to her. How are you, Salma?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, you're very welcome. So first tell my audience a little bit about yourself.
So, as Dr. Hayter said, I'm an undergrad student here at Central Michigan University. I'm studying mechanical engineering, and my minor is mathematics. And I will be pursuing my PhD to hopefully become a professor in the future.
So tell me about how many schools you're applying for PhD admissions.
So I applied to just a few, under 10, but I know many people apply to 20 or more, but I would recommend narrowing it down to 10 or less, or about 10, since it does get a little bit costly. So pick the 10 that you would for sure go to if you were admitted, and have high hopes for yourself. Make sure you apply to the schools that you dream of and want to go to.
So how do you select universities?
I selected based on distance, so it's very important for me to stay close to my family, so I only applied in the Midwest region. And another very important factor is the research that they're doing at the university, so make sure you pick a project that you can see yourself working on for 5 or more years, because that will be your life for a good chunk of time. And pick the advisor as well. Meet with them beforehand and get to know how they are as a mentor and the projects that they have coming up.
What are the main application materials universities are asking you to submit?
The most important thing, of course, is your CV, which should be about 2 pages in length. And another very important statement is the statement of purpose, which is where you'll highlight your previous research experience and your research interests for the future.
Do you have to take GRE?
After COVID-19, most schools waived the GRE. However, if you're an international student, it would probably benefit you to include a GRE score, as long as it's a very strong score. If it's average or below average, you don't have to include it.
Other than these standardized tests, CV, statement of purpose, any other major documents?
You'll need 3 letters of recommendation per school that you apply to, so make sure you ask those professors a few months in advance of the deadline, and make sure you pick professors that know how you are as a student and as a researcher and as a person in general.
What are the items they should include, or what are the items they should not include in their CVs?
For the header of your CV, you definitely want to include your undergraduate or master's institution and your GPA, and any relevant courses that relate to the graduate program that you're interested in. And right below that, if you have any fundings or scholarships that you won or any awards or honors, after that, the big sections, start with research first. And in that section, include just a few lines highlighting the overview of each research project. And one tip I have is to include a greatest achievement line. So under each main research point, include a greatest achievement, whether that be you got a certification in a certain machine or instrument that you're using. After that, you can highlight any conferences or major publications you have. After that section, include any industry work. So if you had any internships for a company or your school, even include that. The last section will be your extracurricular involvements, if you were involved in any school sports at your university or any clubs that you're just very passionate about. Last line will be your 3 recommenders or references.
Those people who are in the second year or third year of undergrad, what do they need to do now so that they can make their CV or application stronger when they apply for graduate school?
That time is the perfect time to reach out to professors. If you know exactly what you want to research, or if you've had any classes that have been really interesting, learn the research that they're doing, see if it's a good fit for you.
How should one write statement of purpose? What to include, what not to include?
So I like to format it kind of like a chronological story, so past, present, and future. Talk about your past and what made you choose the field that you're in. In the present, discuss your current research, what you're doing, big achievements that you've had during your undergrad years. Talk about your future, so why you want to pursue a PhD, what will you do with it, will you work in industry or will you continue in academia, and why? Close off the statement of purpose with the why you want to go to that school specifically, and include the names of about 3 professors that you would want to work with at their school.
So you mentioned 3 professors in the statement of purpose. So what would you recommend? So prospective students should first contact the professors and then kind of show the interest and then write their names in the statement of purpose, or he or she can just mention 3 professors right off from the website?
Yeah, you can mention 3 professors, but it's much better to contact them beforehand and set up a short, like 30-minute Zoom meeting to talk about their ideas and how you would fit into their lab and the future projects that they have going on. You want to contact those professors the summer before you apply or the very beginning of that fall semester when applications are due.
That leads to another question. How to contact a professor, especially when you are in another country, you are far away, you may not know the US culture very well. So, how would you recommend someone how to contact a professor, how to write an email?
Professors are very busy, so you want to keep your email as short as possible, 1 paragraph or just a few sentences if you can, and then say, I'm very interested in joining your lab as a PhD or master's student starting in, and then write the semester that you want to start in. And then say, are you available for a quick online meeting to discuss possible opportunities in your lab? Give them a week or 2 to answer because they're very busy. If they don't answer within a week or 2, you can definitely follow up, but be very nice and appreciative of their time. Let them know that you're just checking in and want to know if there was a possibility to join their lab.
So some universities have a very high application fee, sometimes almost $100 or higher. And that can be a very important factor when you're about to select a university. Do you think is that important factor?
So sometimes I would go to submit my application expecting them to ask for payment and it would be free. But they don't advertise it very much. It just depends on the program, not even the school, because in some schools, certain programs will have application fees, others will waive it.
So let's say if there are 2 universities, one is asking only for $25 as application fee, and the other one is asking for like $100. Which one would you select? Would you really consider it as application fees as a selection criteria? Or you would just look at the school, department, professor, research, reputation, or how would you select a university?
I think the admission application cost would be the last thing I look at. I wouldn't apply to a school just because they were only asking for $25 if I really wanted to go to the school that was asking for $100. If that's the case, then I would narrow my list down to maybe just top 3 or 4 schools that I would really, really want to go to, and I wouldn't apply to any of the lower schools or the schools that I'm not so sure about.
So do you modify your CV or statement of purpose for every school?
My CV, I keep the same for each school because the research that I'm looking for is consistent throughout. But the statement of purpose, I definitely alter for each application. So I change the professors, of course. Make sure you proofread. Sometimes people submit to a school and they have names of professors from other universities. So tailor it to that school specifically.
So once you submit your application along with all the materials, I think the next step is interviews. Many universities are conducting interviews right now. So how's your experience so far with interviews, and what would you tell my audience?
So interviews are not as intimidating as they seem, as long as you've done your work and you know who the professor is before meeting with them. Have a list of questions prepared before the interview. Ask about their research too and come up with some ideas maybe.
So what was the most interesting questions, or what was like most, I would say, unexpected questions you have heard so far?
So I was expecting a very research-focused questions, but I actually got more like personality or like characteristic questions than I expected. So be prepared to talk about how you handle difficulties in work or school or research.
So now towards the end, would you like to give any tips or suggestions to my audience, especially to those ones who are in the process of applying to US universities for admission and scholarships? Please.
So I think the most important thing is to start as early as you can. And the first thing you want to do is get in contact with professors, email as many as you can, have a list of their emails and their research, and find ones that you really want to work with. Don't be afraid to send an email to 100 or more professors because they're very busy. They might not get back to you. So you really want to have maybe about 10 that you are able to get in contact with and have an online meeting and learn about their research and secure a spot in their lab, hopefully. And have all of your writing complete months before the deadline. So the ideal time for that would be during the summer, like between two semesters before you apply. So you want to write and proofread over and over again and have your research advisor, classmates, professors, someone who's really good at English writing review your work and review it at least 3 or 4 times to make sure you have the best grammar and the strongest writing style. And start research as early as possible. So in your second or third year, be looking for professors that you can work with. You want to have one very strong research lab that you're a part of, and you can have multiple too if you're not sure what exactly you want to focus on in your graduate studies. So you can have 2 or 3 different research experiences to show that you have a wide background of skills, and you can use all of those to your advantage in your applications, and it will open up more opportunities for you because you'll find lots of professors whose research fits with something that you already know and like, so you can continue with any of them.
Okay, thank you very much. Good luck with your applications.